What is up, EKN Nation? My name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole for a new edition of Face2Face here on the ekartingnews.com YouTube channel. Getting back into it, obviously the season's kind of wrapped up a little bit, a couple of big events still to come. So David and I have a little more time to get at things here. More time in the office, not on a plane, not in an airport somewhere, not in a rental car. So lots of good stuff in terms of content on the YouTube channel coming up. David, it's going to be a great one today. This is kind of a cool one. It's kind of karting, but it's not really karting because it's a couple of karters. But we're taking the opportunity to talk to the guys that were able to win this year's Mazda Motorsports Spec MX-5 Shootout. They'll be factory racers for the Mazda club racing program. Westin, Workman, and Nate Cicero. This is cool because we've watched these guys over the years come up through karting, and they've been able to win a great opportunity. David, coming out and winning a shootout over what was an incredibly talented group of young kart racers.
Yeah, the second year that we've been able to be involved with the program, and last year was the first year we were part of it. We provided some nominees. We actually had the opportunity to kind of interview all of the selections to the shootout, but prior to to going to the shootout. This year we didn't quite have the time. It was of a quick bang, bang, bang with the nominations and the selections, and then the actual shootout itself. So now we're coming back with just the interviews with the two winners. And like you said, again, it's still karting related, because again, these guys are karters. One's even at a karting event right now. So
that's right. And I love it. We'll bring them in a second. For those of you who don't know about it, Mazda does a program where they bring a lot of they brought the karters in. It was the first time last year. They did a shootout. Well, first of all, they had to do a video to get themselves the nominees to do a video explaining who they were, what their career aspirations were, that kind of a thing. They got a chance then to go do a shootout last year at Road Atlanta, this year at Sebring International Raceway on the short course to win an opportunity to race in the NASA Teen Challenge as what essentially is a factory driver for Mazda's club program. Last year's winners Alex Berg and Bryson Morris did extremely well, won a bunch of races and really got that experience. This year, the winners, as we said, Westin, Workman, and Nate Cicero. David, let's bring them in. Let's bring the winners in, and we'll have a quick chat with them and spend some time. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate it. Westin, Nate, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Nate, we'll start with you only because David had mentioned that you are still a karter. Obviously, it's still lots of racing to do. You're in Las Vegas right now for the Rock Vegas event. Thanks for taking the time. I guess, are you on track tomorrow, I think?
Yeah, I believe tomorrow through Sunday.
Nice. Lots of racing to do. More races to win, which is for sure. Westin, what about you? Are you on the shelf right now? Are we going to see you out doing any karting before the end of the year?
Yeah, so I'm just going to be doing the GoPro local races for the rest of the year. I kind of had a decision between SCUSA Super Nights or the Lucas Oil Shootout, so we're going to try to do the Lucas Oil Shootout at the end of the year.
Nice. That's awesome. We'll dive into that as well too. Lots of karters heading down to there. So we had a chance at the start of the show here to kind of provide an overview on the program. Let's first and foremost, let's talk about the initial feelings from winning. We'll go back into your origin story. You guys can tell us how you started in karting and how you kind of got to the point where you're at. We'll dive into a little bit about the process of the video you had to put together and the actual shootout itself, the track shootout at Sebring. But let's just first, Westin, we'll start with you. And I love watching the video when it happens. Your trackside, it's all said and done. They say your name. You know, that's a career thing, a movement forward. What were your thoughts then, and what are your thoughts now?
So it was kind of just like relief almost, because I've been trying at it for over a year, because I was chosen last year and then I didn't get it, so I was like improving on things I needed to improve on. Because this year they were both years they were looking for just like someone who's like presentable and marketable and things like that. They weren't really looking for the fastest driver. So it's just over the year I've been working on that. And then when I heard my name, it was just kind of like I did it. I did what I needed to do. I improved on what I needed to improve on.
Well, and you're right. They always look for the complete driver, right? It's not just outright speed. It's Mazda. You've got to be able to represent the brand outside the race car as well. So many great drivers that have been with Mazda over the years. Now, Nate, we'll ask you the same question, but first, did they say your names at the same time, or was it one guy first and then the other guy? How did they roll it out?
So they said Westin first. So obviously, you know, there's a lot of other people that could have won it, and after I was like, you know, there's only one spot left, so you know, it'd be great to win, but even if you don't win, So getting 2 days of amazing experience driving a car, which a lot of people haven't done on a track.
Yep.
And it was my second and third day ever driving a car on a track. So yeah, that was definitely a relief to be called the second name. I've been working for this for the last pretty much 5 years, ever since I started karting, leading up to that moment. So that was pretty awesome.
Let's take the opportunity before we kind of give you guys a chance to talk about your own careers. So, obviously, Nate, you kind of came into the national scene running in the KA 100 category. You've moved to X30 a little bit now, but I would have to feel that some of that KA 100 experience probably better suited maybe to the Mazda, right? The keeping the momentum up, that kind of thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just rolling the speed through the corners and keeping that minimum speed up, and translating that from the K to the Mazda. Definitely.
Well, the funny thing is that a lot of the people that we nominate, right? You guys are anywhere between 15 or whatever and 19, 20 years of age. A lot of kids these days aren't driving manual transmission cars, right? You're driving around in an automatic. Weston's laughing about this. Cole, David, you could drive a standard, can you not?
I've never done it, but I probably could. I know it's sad. It's sad. I'm 42 years old and I never did. Yeah.
I actually have a manual car that I daily drive every day.
You do have one. Weston has one. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of car is it?
I have a Lexus IS 300.
Okay, that's a nice car. I like that car. What about you, Nate? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you had never driven a manual transmission car or car at all?
Yep.
What? So that must have been wild trying to go racing one.
On the Thursday before the shootout, I went to Roebling Road to go test the Spec MX-5 because I hadn't driven, as I said, any manual car. So I had to learn that in 1 day, which wasn't too bad. I was able to get it straight away. I didn't stall, so that was good.
That's really good.
And then just had to get a feeling for heel and toe and downswing, and luckily it came pretty quick. So yeah.
It's the heel and toe thing is obviously, that's the craft, right? When it comes to running these kind of race cars. Now, not all the cars now with the sequential gearboxes and the shift on the wheel, but that's still a craft to be able to learn. And how tough was that? First, I'll talk to you, Nate. We'll ask you, Weston, the same thing. Then we'll dive into your careers. How hard was it to learn that? Because it's a dance on the pedals. It
was probably especially tough for me because I hadn't been doing that in the sim. I didn't know how to do it, and just learning how to position your feet was definitely the toughest part.
Yeah.
But just getting time doing it, getting more sessions, obviously you can learn it. And lucky enough, I was able to get it decently good. I wasn't getting the shifts every time, but get that up to speed on the first day.
Well, obviously good enough. Weston, what about you? When you're driving the Lexus around town, are you heel toeing?
No, the pedals aren't built for that. I rev match, but it's hard to heel toe.
You can see Weston coming into the grocery store. All right, listen, let's obviously EKN Nation tuning in here. We've got some questions coming in. We'll bring them out here in a couple seconds. Nate, let's start with you. What is your origin story? You mentioned 5 years of work. You kind of burst onto the national scene with Rawlison Performance Group a couple of years ago. Where did it start for you? Where did the passion for racing start? Let's kind of build the Nate Cicero brand a bit here.
I'd probably have maybe one of the more interesting stories, I guess. So
I like that.
Since I was probably 2 or 3, I just loved cars. No idea why. No one in my family has ever done anything in racing. So I was pretty much the pioneer, I guess, for me and my sister, and getting a whole family into it. And car names were pretty much the first words I learned. And I would always go up to people. I remember at my kindergarten, I would go up to the teachers and ask to see their car keys to see what car they had, and I was able to tell them what they had. And that was pretty much how I got into cars. And then my dad saw a commercial for Grand Prix New York. I don't know if anyone knows it, probably not, but
Mount Kisco, baby. That's a lot of race car drivers come out of there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. We've a lot of people coming out of there. Josh Green, who's in. I believe he was in USF last year.
USF, Robert McGinnis,
a couple other, Rob McGinnis, George McGinnis, as well as brother. James Brewer did national race last year. Parks has been doing some club races. A lot of people, a lot of good people have come out of there. We started out there, did a couple of years there, probably from 2014 to 2018, I believe. and I started nationally racing in 2019. Oh no, 2020. Sorry, and kind of went off from there.
Did you come right out of Did you come out of Grand Prix New York and go right national racing, or did you do some Oakland Valley stuff? Or I know a lot of guys went to Oakland Valley first.
Yeah, I went to Oakland Valley for a few years with Mackler karting team.
Mackler,
Stephen Mackler, who races in GT4, Super Trail, LMP3. He was a really good coach. Came me up to speed pretty quick, so that was good. And his brother Stuart Mackler, who's my tuner now, the past couple of years, and they've worked with RPG a little bit in the past, so we went with them in 2020 and was able to have some pretty good debut races.
You did.
You straight out club racing in Discusa.
Trust me, I'm like announcing this race. I'm like, who the hell is this Nate Cicero kid? Like, what? Like, this guy's running up front. You won the championship, right?
Winter Series champion.
You won the Winter Series championship with KA.
Yeah,
impressive.
The first race I was fourth, and then I won the other three. So that was pretty fun.
Awesome.
Being an unknown. I liked that.
You like that? Well, that didn't last very long, Nate. It didn't last long.
Well, even still at Indiana, I think a lot of people didn't really know what I was going to be able to do because the field wasn't too big in Homestead. It was probably 10 people.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah, I think we had 14 or 15 in one race, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
but listen,
in Indiana was nice.
Yeah, you've done great over the last couple of years for sure. Westin, let's move to you. What's your origin story? Where'd you get started? If I'm not mistaken, you were an indoor karting guy too, as I remember.
Yeah,
right?
I was. Yeah. So
Victory Lane, right?
Yeah. So just like Nate, I just had a love for cars, mainly from my dad. My dad loves cars too, and then so he took me to Victory Lane. I was around 7, and then I just loved it from there. And then we started doing their youth programs, and they had a great youth program there. And then it was just like learning the kart dynamics and things like that. And then I started winning there. And then we were kind of just like, what should we do to, further this? And then we were lucky that GoPro was only 40 minutes up the road. So we started doing there. We started with Tim Shutt. And he's been very good. I mean, he does everything. He does the engine building, the coaching, the kart tuning, the transport. He does everything. So it was really good to have him. And then we started doing the local races at GoPro. And then I was third the first year of that championship. And that was the first year they ran KA. I started in KA, so I didn't go to Mini. I went straight to KA.
There you go.
And then after that, we started doing national races. And then,
with solid success too. Like you were up front quite a bit, right? In the lead pack and battling it out in your national events.
Yeah, it took a little minute, but yeah, we got there.
Good man. All right, so let's jump into this program right now. We're obviously talking about the Mazda Shootout for the drivers in the Spec MX-5. We talked about the opportunity. You hear your name to get the win. Nate, let's start with you. We send in our nominees. We know who they're picking. We're going back and forth with David. We know what the list is. How did they go about doing it? Did you get an email or a phone call? What was it to say, hey, listen, you've been nominated for this program?
So I got an email or a message on Instagram. I remember from you asking for, I believe it was like my age the first day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, it might be for some article or something. And the next day it was for email, I think. And then being nominated for the Spec MX-5 Shootout, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Because I remember looking at that the last year and just hearing all about it and seeing that was a pretty cool event. So yeah, just getting kind of almost like punch in the face with being nominated for that right away. Just not really knowing what to expect. And then over the next 2 weeks probably was having to have our video submission in, a bunch of calls with David especially, just getting prepared for the shootout. And then we also had GoPro for USPS right before it. So it was a whole lot compact into 2 or 3 weeks. So it was really, really busy, but really fun. The pressure was interesting.
Yeah, you're young. You're fine. Don't worry about pressure. Don't worry about being busy. Westin, what about you? You'd gone through this before. You got the email before. You spent some time with David Cook and the crew at Mazda and that whole deal. I'm assuming, like you said, after that first one, you're like, listen, I did it last year. I know what my shortcomings were. You've worked hard on trying to make sure you rounded yourself out and all that stuff that they maybe sat down, because that's one of the big things about the program, right? You get so much input when you're there from the Max Pappases, from everybody that's part of the program. You're able to work on it. I would have to think of all the work you did to get that phone call again, or that email again. Was like, yes, I get one more shot at it.
Yeah, so it was different from last year, because last year for the video, they really wanted us to like explain our racing aspirations and things we had done in racing and what racing means to us. And then this year, it was kind of more of like how you can market yourself, how you can create value for companies and things like that. So it's kind of difficult, because coming from karting, a lot of karters don't really have experience in doing that. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people didn't get chosen. And then, what else I was gonna say? This year, it was just kind of, I had to figure out like what I was gonna do off track besides on track, because I figured if they picked me again, I had to be doing good on the driving side of it. So I just had to figure out how I could do good off track. And then because this year you had to talk to people, and it wasn't so last year they had set up interviews and things like that. This year it was kind of, they wanted to see how well you could go out and do those things for yourself. So you had to talk to people instead of them setting up interviews for yourself.
Oh, I like that.
That was going to be my next question, was what were kind of the differences? Obviously a different venue. You were at Road Atlanta last year. This year they went to Sebring International Raceway. So aside from the racetrack, what were kind of the different things? Obviously you just mentioned they were trying to do more of an informal interview where they had scheduled an interview. Was the on-track sessions different? Were anything else different from last year?
So this year we actually had 2 days on track, and last year we had 1 day. So I felt like people who didn't have much experience in a car had a better chance this year because they had more experience in a car now.
Okay. Like that guy, right? Like that guy. Where's how do I do this? Down over here.
Okay.
And I actually didn't get an email that I was chosen. I actually got a text from Paulie Massimino. He said, "Congrats on making the shootout." I was like, I didn't even know I made it, but thank you.
That's good. That's good. Good for Paulie. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I like the difference in the approach, and that's one of the things I think that a lot of kids really need to understand when you're coming into racing. What you do outside the car is oftentimes even as important, if not more important. I remember, in speaking of a Mazda driver, Spencer Piggott, who of course was a championship karter coming up, then won 4 scholarships on his way to his time in IndyCar, and of course now in IMSA. When he got to IndyCar, I remember one of the things he said to me was, "Man, I didn't realize that like the racing's 25% of it, and everything you do out of the car is the other 75, right?" So they really threw you into the deep end, saying, "Hey, listen, you guys got to come down here, and everybody's here. Go introduce yourself, set up your interactions, because that's the way it works, right?" Nate, how was that for you? Was that something that was? Did you feel like you were thrown into the deep end?
Yeah, I'm not the most social person, so that was probably the toughest part for me. I was just trying to make sure I was going rounds and rounds, talking to everyone that was just everyone in the Spec MX-5 side and a few people on the MX-5 Cup side.
Yep.
Just talking over and over and over. Just, even if you're just talking about like, what is your history in racing, or how do you like the weather, something like that, or just literally anything, just going up and talking to people. That was the important thing, and I guess I did it good enough. So
that's
Nate, one thing I've noticed is that you only have Instagram. You don't have Twitter. You don't have a Facebook page. Is that something they talked to you about during the shootout?
No, but I got Instagram literally only to just market my racing, pretty much, just show my racing results. I don't go on social media that often. I don't use it. I don't post anything else unless it's just my racing results. And I got it, I think, midway through last year, just during the pandemic. And
listen, I remember
after Newcastle, you guys were, I think you asked if I had Instagram. I was like, no, not yet.
We're trying to tag you.
So yeah.
Well, listen,
yeah,
that's one thing that listen, that's a lesson for all the young racers out there who you're looking for sponsorship and you're trying to find, hey, what deliverables can I bring to a sponsor? Social media is key, right? And as I say a lot to people, is stay on brand. I think you're exactly right. You're using your Instagram for your racing. That's really all you should use social media for, to be honest. I know people want to use it for publicly and I'm hanging with my friends, but if you're a race car driver, all those followers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, that's a valuable thing to have in terms of being able to sell that to a sponsor, to be able to have that attention that you're getting, right? Content you develop is something that at least you're in control of when it comes to being a motorsport professional. So, Nate, we expect to see all the platforms pretty soon. Hey, listen.
I'll
maybe.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see if the Mazda guys beat you down on that one. Let's talk about what you know that's going to happen next year. Do you guys have any idea? Have you talked about what team you're with next year, where you're going to be racing? Have they given you a schedule, or are we just kind of waiting for that?
So we're going to be racing with Advanced Autosport next year. They haven't released a schedule yet.
Okay, likely West Coast. I know the guys. I think the guys did West Coast last year, right?
They did West Coast last year, but this year they're trying to make it the transition over to the East Coast.
Oh, really? All right, that's interesting.
They're trying to get us on more bucket list tracks this year.
Ooh, I like that. All right, okay. Listen, this is a question I would kind of roll in. Oh, Dave's got another one.
I was just saying, okay, what's a bucket list racetrack for each of you?
That's good. I like that.
Road
Nate,
America.
I'll let you go first. Road America. Okay.
Yep. I love
Westin?
that place.
They're talking about going to Sebring again. I like Sebring.
That would be the full track, probably, right?
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Rob.
My next question would be to roll in. How do you leverage this, right? How do you have this program? And Sonia Jackson, David, you want to bring that up, or you want me to do it? Sonia Jackson asked the question. She says, question for both drivers. Where do you see yourself in 2 years in your racing career? So you have this program. You're going Spec Miata racing next year on the East Coast, as you guys are talking about. In your mind, how do you leverage that? Where do you spin off? I think any young driver probably would sit down in karting and go, I would love to go here, open wheel, sports cars, whatever it may be. How has this opportunity made you think about your future? Where do you see yourself in 2 years and beyond? Westin, we'll start with you.
In 2 years, I would hope to see myself in Global MX-5, because using this year for Spec MX-5, and then hopefully I get an automatic nomination to the Global MX-5 Shootout next year. So hopefully use that to leverage to getting in to the Global MX-5 Shootout, and then hopefully doing well in that to race Global MX-5 next in 2023.
So my mindset would be look at sports cars, see the opportunities, because obviously David and I'm obviously huge into the road dandy and open wheel, but we're also very big fans of sports car racing. I go back to the history of my 20 something years I've been in this, and the one guy that was there at the very start when I had my first magazine was Mark Miller, and he kind of came through the Spec Miata program and has developed a fantastic career as a professional race car driver because he is that complete driver. Do you look at that, Westin? Do you say, hey, you know what, maybe I can see myself with a 20 or 30 year sports car career?
Yeah, so being with Mazda, they really push the sports car side of things because there's a lot more opportunities on the sports car side of things. But I'm just exploring all my opportunities. So I'm also looking at open wheels and things like that, the Road to Indy program.
Well, you mentioned going to the Lucas Oil Shootout as well, right? There's an opportunity to get in their series, the Formula Car series with a scholarship to go into USF Juniors. Nate, what about you? 5 years, you're talking about the fact coming out of indoor karting, you go national racing, you've won some titles right now, a lot of races. Your name's in that hunt of, hey, this is one of the top drivers we have right now in single speed karting. Did you have designs on going one direction? Is this with that design? Are you the same as Westin? Are you looking at both? But having this opportunity, what's the next 2 years look like?
I would say definitely, hopefully, this year, going with obviously Spec MX-5, building on my car experience, and then hopefully the year after in MX-5 Cup or Global MX-5, same thing. I think that series looks really cool. The cars look so much fun to drive, and then from there, definitely, I'd say sticking with the sports car route. Formula cars are really cool, and it's always nice to watch that. But yeah, the sports car stuff just looks so much fun.
I was going to say, Nate, but like I love IndyCar and I love Road Indy, but man, IMSA prototypes are so badass.
Yeah.
Ethan McKay just asked a question that plays perfectly for this. What is your guys' ultimate goal in your racing career? Such as where do you want to be racing at the peak of your career? Right, this kind of fits right into that. You're talking about going, Global MX-5 Cup, which is such a tremendous series, like literally edge of your seat racing all year long. Right, people just love. I love watching those races; they're amazing. But what is that ultimate goal, realistic goal for you guys? Westin, we'll start with you. Are you thinking, is it prototypes or whatever, right?
Yes, it would be sports cars or prototypes. I think there's more opportunities going that route than, trying to go to F1 or things like that.
Yeah, agreed. Even F1's unattainable in my mind for obviously 99.9% of every karter we talk to.
Yeah.
But obviously with IndyCar and sports cars, with the scholarship programs that are available, I think that'd be fun. What about you, Nate? Do you look at the IMSA guys, the GTDs and the GT guys, and you're like, yeah, I could do that all day long?
Yeah, I mean, my main coach is Stephen Mackley. He races in IMSA, so it'd be awesome to be his teammate in the future. He's talked about that, saying it'd be awesome to race with us and get the team. So that'd be pretty cool to do. Whether it's LMP3, GTT, GTE, even doing
whatever, we'll take it.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
It's cool because I remember back in the late 90s when a kid named Patrick Long was a factory driver for CRG, went to do the Formula Ford Festival, ran with Van Diemen, and it kind of went away from what everybody's like, well, you should be into F3, whatever it may be, right? Do what you can do over in Europe. That's what Patrick did, but he connected with Porsche, and here he is. He's got this 25-year career as a Porsche factory driver. Is that something that goes into your mind? Do you think about, hey, I'm attached to Mazda, maybe I do whatever I can to be with them as long as I can? Because a lot of people have done that. Westin?
Yeah, it's just using your opportunities to your advantage. So just, staying with Mazda for as long as you can, but also, seeing what other opportunities there are.
That's it. Nate?
Yeah, I think Mazda are, pretty much. They're a really good brand trying to give us the best opportunities they can give us right now, and they're trying to help us progress. So, yeah, working with them definitely, and seeing where we go from there.
When does testing start for next year? Do you get a chance to do some off-season testing before you guys go racing?
Yeah, I think they said March or February.
Yeah. February to April, something like that.
Yeah.
So you'll be battling each other too, which I like. It's not just the other drivers, right? It's inter-team battling.
Yeah.
We were really close on pace, so that was pretty nice to see. I picked like the two closest people were like a tenth apart, pretty much the whole time, 2 tenths.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Before the shootout,
battles on track.
Before the shootout, had you guys like conversed off the racetrack? Have you guys known each other for a little bit?
Not really. The first race I raced him was actually the Rotax Grand Nationals in 2019. I had no idea who he was. He was super fast, but I had never heard of him before. So I was kind of like, who is this guy?
I know what you mean.
Yeah. That was the first
New
time.
Jersey, wasn't it?
No, that was Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Yes, sorry. Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, Nate, you definitely made it.
That was a fun race.
I like that. That was good. That's good. And yeah, Rotax obviously coming back in a big way now. A lot of good programs for Rotax. David, anything else for these two new factory drivers for Mazda?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, both drivers. I like this. This is from Sonia Jackson again. Who's your favorite driver and why? Let's go. Nate looks like he's still thinking. Weston's like, yeah, I got it. Who's your favorite driver and why?
You could probably guess, but it probably has to be Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, he's a badass. Come on.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. 100 wins.
Yeah.
All right.
His story and what he's accomplished, I think he's one of the best drivers in the world.
No doubt about that. Nate, what about you?
I have a few.
You can't say Steve McAleer.
No.
I'll go on the route of F1 drivers again. I'll go. I really like Ricardo because his personality is amazing. He's really fast. Struggling a little bit this year sometimes, but still able to get that win even when he's having a tough season. Charles Leclerc. I don't know why. Just watching him in F2 and then going through F1 straight into Ferrari and beating Sebastian Vettel, 4-time world champion, your first year at Ferrari. I can't imagine the pressure and still able to do it. And Fernando Alonso, just because Fernando Alonso, right. He's amazing. Just watching him cut corners on purpose to go against the FIA and prove them wrong.
I thought that was awesome, by the way.
Hilarious defending. Just his personality, he just doesn't care about anyone else. It's fun to watch. Maybe not be like him, but it's because he does everything for him, and it's not. He doesn't always make the best decisions, but just watching him on track is always.
They get some little critique here.
Special.
Yeah,
and only one of those four drivers have ever raced at the Supernats, right, David?
Yeah, well, Daniel was at the Supernats.
Daniel was there, but he didn't race.
He didn't race. It was actually the year Travis Sinato won, but was disqualified or penalized for jumping the start. So
yeah, and what chassis was Charles Leclerc on when he was there?
The Art GP.
Art GP, David Cole. Well done.
Before it merged with Burrell.
That's right. Well, guys, listen, this is big. We obviously sat back. We found out, as you guys did, I didn't even know, but they were sending us messages. We're really proud of both of you for, number one, representing EKN and the community of karting down there. We thank you so much for that. And man, we're excited. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys can do next year. I'm sure you guys are on pins and needles. 2022 is going to be a fun year, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you, David.
Definitely. Thank you.
Well, Westin, thank you so much for joining us. Nate, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll drop you to the back of the studio. You hang out there so we can chat before we're done. David, cool deal is, we throw a bunch of names at the guys at Mazda, and the feedback that we got, we talked about this before the show, the feedback that we got from David Cook was that, man, we thought you sent us great drivers last year. The quality of the drivers you sent us this year was amazing, and that's got nothing to do with us. We're just picking great drivers. We just have such a good pool of young racers in that age window, David. It's tough to pick them all. Some guys could have been in but weren't, but just quality guys, and I'm happy for both these racers.
Quality drivers, because again, we had two females finalists this year, Annie Rule and Hannah Greenmeyer. Again, Annie, one of the top shifter kart drivers in the country. Hannah, one of the top single speed drivers in the country. And again, it's West Coast to East Coast, North to South, just all these different drivers. Hannah from Colorado. We got a lot of our top karters from the West Coast. We got a lot of top karters from the East Coast. It's just all over the place. But like you said, really, it's the quality of not only drivers, but the quality of people that we do have in our sport. And that's it's looking good for not only karting, but for future motorsports here in North America.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers that Mazda keeps this going. You mentioned the female drivers that we were able to bring in this year, and Annie and Hannah. And we look at some of the kids coming up in micro and mini. There's a lot of really good,
a lot of good female drivers coming up the ranks. So that's one of the things. Like, who's going to be? That Ashley Rojero. She was kind of like, she set the bar of female drivers. I think Hannah's gotten to that point where she's almost, she's kind of that Ashley Rojero level. And I think now we're getting more and more female drivers coming up the ranks. So again, that's another aspect of our sport. Just so many different drivers from all across the country. Yeah, big shout out to Mazda Motorsports for dipping down, as they have for many, many years, back when John Doonan was doing it. I remember John and I were talking about the fact that he wanted Mazda to be a friend to karting. He spent a lot of money, would invest in some of the series, but they continue to see karting as what it is. It's a fantastic driver development program. Some people want to stay in karting for all their lives. That's what it's all about. It's their life. It's what they do. Others, it's a development program. It's that ladder system to potentially become a professional race car driver. That's where they're and great marketing too, because a lot of people are driving Mazdas around the country for their there's a lot involved with motorsports, not only in marketing side, but on the non-motorsport side as well too. Yeah, so big thank you to Mazda Motorsports and David Cook for being involved, for bringing us in as well, and shout out one more time to Westin Workman and Nate Cicero, this year's Mazda Motorsports Club Racing Factory drivers. We look forward to following them. We'll make sure we keep an eye on them. We'll make sure we share their social media posts throughout the 2022 season, so you see how they're doing and representing karting. But otherwise, this edition of Face to Face is done. Lots more to come. I've got a bunch of guys lined up for the next couple of weeks, so expect a lot of content coming out through to the end of the season. I want to thank you for joining us here on the EKN, both Facebook and YouTube channel. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.